Welcome back to another episode of Feelin the Healin with Foltzy. I'm super excited about my guest today. This guy is he's a three-time karate champion. He's an ISKA kickboxing champion. He was an All-American college linebacker, and he spent over 7 years between the WCW and the WWE as a pro wrestler, banging it out in the ring. Ernest Miller, also known as Ernest the Cat Miller, is with us here today, and he's going to talk about his career, the difficulties of just being in that sport, and everything he's gone through to get where he was and where he is today. He's also in the movie industry. He's cut out of some movies. He just finished on the set with a movie, so we'll talk about that. So welcome to this episode, and I'm just excited to have you here and talk about your life and where you've been, where you're headed, and all the fun stuff.
You know, it's good. It's good to be here, man. But I'm still taken aback about this place right here, man. Like, what is this? Okay, it started out. It's a barn. It got stuff for the land, and then you got alcohol back here.
Well, we're not going to get into the alcohol. Or the popcorn machine.
We're going popcorn too.
we're going to stay off the popcorn.
It's a hell of a place.
That's a Stinger missile over there.
Oh my
It's defused, but
they're ready for everything.
Yeah, I've got the luxury to do some filming here. We filmed some smolts here and some others here, and so
this is nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. So we're glad to have you here, kind of on our makeshift studio, one of our studios. But listen, I want to learn a little bit about you growing up and kind of up until college and all that, and then we'll get to talking about college and karate and all that. But just tell me about kind of the Ernest Miller growing up, where you grew up, and all that stuff.
Man, I grew up in Atlanta, and I grew up like as a grandmother, grandfather, kind of. Those was my leaders, and my mother and father really. My mom was 16 when she had me.
Yeah.
So in matter of fact, my mom was 16, pregnant with me, and my grandma was her age, pregnant with my uncle. So I came here a couple of weeks older than my uncle. So that's a unique kind of combination like that. They thought we were twins and brothers growing up together. But then I said, no, this is my uncle. Or sometimes he called me the uncle. We were just confused because at that time it was new and it was fun to have an uncle, to have a person that was so close to you, happen to be your uncle. But we didn't understand we were brothers or whatnot. But we were today we're best friends.
That's cool.
You know, I'm 2 weeks old and we're best friends. So I kind of grew up being under the leadership of my grandparents. My mom and dad was there. But like I said, I was just a grandma baby.
So when did you start playing like football and sports?
I kind of started when there's two things you can say. When you say that, when did you start playing sport? I started playing sport at a very early age. You know, that's all we did. We'd go out in the yard, get a plastic ball and hit the ball, or play football, tackle in the yard. So at that age, I started around the age of 2 or 3 because I did have a couple of older uncles who would make her get out there and wrestle and do everything. So, one fortunate thing about growing up with an uncle the same age of you, it's like it's fortunate you got a friend all the time.
Yeah.
But on the other side, he was a couple of inches taller than me, so that was somebody we always competed against him. Anything we did, you two get out there and wrestle. You two get out there and do that. We was the entertainment for the family dinners and cookout.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you played football in high school.
I played football in high school. I started I started karate first.
Okay, so you're in karate first.
I started martial arts when I was about maybe in the 5th grade, about 10 years old. I started karate and martial arts. But then as I moved into high school in the 8th grade, I started playing football. I did everything, football, track, basketball. But I kind of was a standout in soccer and football.
I played soccer too?
Yes.
All right, so then you went on to Savannah State University, played linebacker there.
Yes.
And but you're studying electrical engineering, I saw.
Yes. I majored in electrical engineering. I got my degree in electrical engineering because I wanted to go out in the world to kind of fix things. I was good with my hands. I wanted to go into construction.
Okay.
That's why you tell me, if I'm on my own construction company, I'm going to wire everything. I'm going to do this. So I got my degree in engineering, but at the same time, you know, my career went in different ways. Once I got out, I tried out. I was an All-American football player, and it was good for me to have a leader. It's like God always put somebody in that spot for me that kind of carried me and supported me.
Yeah.
So this is a funny thing. I was recruited by a lot of colleges. I was 205-pound middle linebacker, which was small then in college, but I was running like a 4.40. So I was recruited by everybody, to play strong safety.
Oh.
So one of the only top 5 schools that really wanted me as a linebacker was Florida State. So Florida State brought me in for a recruiter vacation or whatever. It wasn't to recruit me, but they just brought me into one of the camps that they give people. So I went into the camp, and I liked Florida State. Florida State told me, said, yeah, we like you. We want to offer you a scholarship. So I signed my first scholarship to Florida State. So first week in practice, Florida State, first time meeting Bobby Bowden, I didn't even really meet the head coach because I wasn't a top recruit. I was just a recruit. So I met Bobby Bowden in practice one day, and we used to run these drills where the linebacker run with the running backs and the corner and defensive back run with the receivers who were faster. So I was just jumping in line, just being who I am, I decided I'm gonna go out here on this receiver who happened to be one of the fastest receivers around. And he took off running a sprint. I'm running with him. They threw the ball. I stayed with him. I caught the ball beautifully just over my head. Just boom, snatched the ball out of his hand. On my way back down to get in line, Bobby Bowden looked at me and he said, who is that? And some of the guys said, that's Ernest Miller from Decatur. He said, what? He's a linebacker. Then as I walked down, I remember Bobby Bowden looking at me. He said, man, you're going to be a good defensive back. And I said, no, sir, I'm a linebacker. Then he looked at me again. He said, you're going to be a good, and he used to always have tobacco right here. You're going to be a good defensive back. And I was like, I'm a linebacker. So just that one conversation, for the rest of the day, I was in my room crying, thinking, I'm not going to play linebacker here because this coach wanted to move me to a defensive back. Mm-hmm. I didn't think in my head, because my parents and nobody had never been in that position before. I was the first one to go to college in my family. So when we went that position right there, if I was in my father's place, I would have told my son right there, I would say, listen, that's one of the best coaches in the world. If he said you need to play defensive back or cornerback, that's what you need to play. But me being like a baby and being, like I was better than everybody else, I didn't listen to him. And I said, you know what? I called my mom and she said, well, come home. Which what moms will do. Come home. Now I was like, no, I'm going to stay. And I called my high school coach, who just happened to go to Savannah. He said, if you want to play linebacker, go to Savannah State. They said they'll give you a full scholarship. It's a Division II school, though. So I just wanted to go and play football and play linebacker. So I ended up at Savannah State. And being a high recruit like that, when I came into Savannah State, they put me with another top recruit who was an All-American free safety. I was 208 pounds. This All-American free safety was 220 pounds, 6'4". So he was bigger than I was, So I was like, this is the largest free safety I ever seen. And he led the nation in interception. So all the scouts were there looking at him. So when I got there, my coach told me, said, Cecil is going to be your roommate. Said, Cecil Newton. And I was like, man, who is this guy? And when I first met him, he was reading the Bible. He was reading the Bible. He was talking about a positive thing. He didn't smoke. He didn't do what the regular college people were doing. He was a fifth-year senior, though. He didn't do what they're doing. And moving in with this guy, man, let me tell you something. This guy made sure I got up on Sunday morning to be at church. With his then was his preacher, but the preacher turned out to have a daughter, and they ended up eventually getting married. So he married the preacher's daughter, and when he married the preacher's daughter, they ended up having a kid, and that kid ended up being Cam Newton. So Cecil Newton was my roommate in college. And this dude, they talk about Cam, this dude was everything that Cam was, man. I mean, this dude was like a great guy, a preacher, an All-American football player, and he was a 6'3", 6'4", 220-pound free safety. That's the biggest. My mouth used to get me in trouble when I used to play against teams. And I remember playing against a team, and the referees knew me because I talked a lot. But in my freshman year, I led the whole conference in tackles. So I was able to talk. I remember one time we were playing a college, I think it might have been Alabama A&M, and they were like, "You too little. We gonna run you over." Then I looked at them. I said, "Yeah, if you run me over, look back there. Look behind me. Look what you gonna have to run over next." He was a beast, man. This guy was a beast. Cam Newton's father.
Isn't it amazing how where one door shut for you, it opened a whole different door that directed you to that next level to meet a person that took you to the next level and helped you. It's really cool how if you walk through the door that opens up, good things happen.
You got to, man. You can't ever feel shut up. Like I'm at the end of my rope.
Yeah.
My back is against the wall. No, I always make choices. I got something else. If this don't work out, I'll do this. But the first thing I had to do is make plan. I started planning when I was young that I want to go to college. When I started playing high school football, they used to ask me, "What do you want to do?" And I said, one of the things was I wanted to go to college. So in order for me to go to college, we didn't have the money for me to go to college at that time. So I said the only way is to get a scholarship. So that's why I got in this football and sports, so I can go to college.
Now, when did on shifting gears a little bit, when did the karate really get? I mean, you're talking 3-time karate champion. I mean, you got to get where that all of a sudden lifts off. I mean, where did that? I mean, was that back when you were younger? I mean, I know you still teach karate and you're still big into martial arts, correct?
Yes. But you know, I was motivated differently to get into karate. My dad didn't just say, "Hey, you taking karate classes," or my mom didn't say, "You going to take karate classes." What happened is I got a little brother, and about 3 years younger. So he was my little brother who did more talking than anybody. So people are always trying to fight him. People are always picking on him because he was always out. I was a home guy. I could be at home watching TV in my room. I loved that. You know, I loved when I wasn't playing sports or doing karate. I didn't mind being at home in my room, reading or playing games or talking on the phone. I was one of those kids. But my little brother loved to be out. And we lived in a neighborhood that was a pretty good neighborhood, you know. And back then, a black family living in a kind of middle class. My grandfather worked for a pharmacist, so he was able to move the whole family from one area of town to a pretty good area. We had our own backyard. We had our nice park in the in the community. It was a nice community, but you still had those same little root of evil and some bad guys that all they wanted to do is do bad, pick on the young guy. So it was one guy in our neighborhood who was older than everybody, and he picked on everybody. And when he got into fights, I saw him pull a knife on somebody one time. And I said to myself, and I was young, man. I was like 8 or 9. My little brother was like he was my little baby. He
Yeah.
wasn't my brother. This was my baby, you know. I'm very protective. So when this guy that I was watching, he was just a bully in the whole neighborhood. Bully in the whole neighborhood. Matter of fact, this guy gave me a black eye and swam my eye up because he grabbed me, and he was like about 3-4 years older than I was, but he grabbed me and he kneed me in some kind of way. He said it was a mistake, but I had a black eye, and my mom was mad. He was angry. She was angry. So what I told my mom is he didn't try to do it, so that got him off the hook, but he was still picking on people. And I said to myself, what would I do if he picked on my brother? Then I said, the first thing I was like, I don't know what I would do. I would fight and protect my brother. But at the same time, I said, I don't know how to fight. I never been in a fight. My father never showed me how to punch. So I'm watching a movie. My dad called me one day, and my dad said, hey, let's go see this movie. I said, what's the name of the movie? It's called Chinese Connection. It was a Bruce Lee karate movie. And it was one scene in the movie where Bruce Lee was in the middle. It looked like about 40 people, and he was in the middle. He held everybody up. He posed. He took his shirt off. Then he started waving people to come, and he was just kicking butt. People were flying everywhere. His hands and feet were moving, and I said, "That's what I want to do." That's what you want. They said, "Yeah." So I get home. I get my little brother and about 40 friends, and I said, "Okay, you guys gonna surround me." And when I said come, y'all attack me. And they said, well, I said, yeah, just attack me. So I get in the middle, take my shirt out like Bruce Lee. They attacked me, and they didn't do it right. They all attacked me at the same time. So I end up on the ground, and then I'm on top. So one of the neighbors was looking, and he just happened to be this guy. The only thing that we used to call him dead eye. He was a guy who had one eye. So patch over the other eye. So he used to drink all the time. So he was watching this, and he came and broke. He said, kid, what are you doing? I said, man, I went to see this movie, and he did this kicking and stuff. He said, they called it karate. I said, karate? He said, yeah, they call it karate. He said, you going to get killed doing what you doing. So I was like, how did I get this karate? He said, you got to go to class. You got to go study.
Yeah.
So I found one of my friends, and things just happened, doors open.
Yeah.
I saw one of my friends coming home in the car with a bunch of people with white tops on. Not on the head, but on the body. So I wasn't afraid. So I said, where you coming from? He said, oh, we take karate at this local bars club right down the street. I said, could I go with you next? He said, yes. So I went to class with him, and I had to be, like I said, about 10 years old. I went to class with him, and there I met my teacher. I met everybody. And from that day on, I've been involved with karate, either taking it or teaching it, for about over 50 years.
Yeah.
I'm 60 now. I started at 10, so, over 50 years I've been involved with karate. And that's how I started karate right there.
And that's a good segue into now. Let's talk some wrestling.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So now, an accumulation between, I would imagine, karate skills and movement, body awareness, athleticism between football and sports, kind of made a good segue for you to be that a wrestler that you see on TV that's banging it out. But tell me how this all came about.
But what's so funny when you bring it up like that, you bring everything together about being athletic, fitness. To me, it's about being in a place you're supposed to be and doing the things you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be in a karate school teaching kids, of course. God gave it to me. Now I got to deliver this back. So I became a karate instructor. When I stopped playing football, I tried out for a few teams. Like I said, I was All-American in college. I tried out with Atlanta Falcons, New York Jets, the New Jersey Generals, or the USFL. I don't know if you remember that. I tried out with all those guys. I didn't make it. So I decided, okay, what do you want to do? First thing I got to do is go back and get my degree. So I started taking online classes, get my degree in engineering of Savannah. But I needed a job because I was coming home. I needed a career right there where I went to school. So I started teaching karate. And teaching karate, man, just put me in a place where I was so comfortable. You know, because really I was kind of a shy person. That's why people used to pick on me when I was younger, because I was big, but I was quiet. And I used to love to be by myself. And I had a little squeaky voice. And people used to laugh, like, man, you sound like a baby. You that big, you sound like a baby. So the guys used to pick on me. So I was bigger than all the guys my age and the older guys. So the older guys would look at me and think I was their age sometimes, then realize till they would say, somebody say, hey, man, he's young, man, he's just big. He's just tall. So when I got into wrestling, it was because God opened the door for me to go in and do what I love doing. Karate. Teaching karate. I was like, my goodness. In a place to where I've never been before. I've never been on that side of town before. It was in a different environment. It was around different people. But I was able to shine. You know, I think because of my personality and the way I got along with people. So I started teaching karate. And I was doing what I loved to. Then one day, you know, I met a couple of students. I had a couple of students that really liked me. And that, you know, I met Eric Bischoff, you know?
Yeah, Eric Bischoff. So you met him there.
Yeah.
And then he said, hey,
Now, I'm going to tell you a
I
story.
like this guy.
I'm going to tell you a story with Eric Bischoff in this story. In karate, when you're teaching karate, every now and then you see kids come in who parents took karate before. And most of the time they'll come in and tell you, hey, my father said he used to do this kick. And I'm like, but that's not how I'm teaching you. But he said, well, my dad said work this way better. And I said, when your dad started teaching you that, maybe it would work for you, but I'm going by what working with me. So anyway, I used to do that anyway. So it was this one kid who said my dad was a black belt. He took karate, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe one day he can come up here and work out with us. When I said work out with us, that's teach and work with the kid. So this one kid I had, his mom used to love me because he was like a little brother to me. Had that long blonde hair, good looking little kid. He was tough though. He was like a cowboy. So he used to come in. He'd say, hey, Mr. Miller, can you work with me? He was the only student who would ask me to work with him. Everybody else just wanted to work when time permitted, when time started. So the kids, you always asked me to work for him. I said, okay, let me get you ready for your test. Boom, I'm getting ready for the test. Nice guy. Then one day he said, a guy showed up with him. Black hair, white teeth, Hollywood smile. And I was like, who is that? He said, that's my dad. And I said, what he got up on his arm? Oh, he want to know if he can spar with us today. I said, spar? So he wanted. So I said, well, let him come on in. Let him come in. So the way we work in sparring, we'll start with all the teachers on one side. And each one is better than the next. All the way till it get down to me, who is, of course, the greatest. Everybody else who wanted to practice and challenge us had to start on that side, down on the low side, and work his way up to me. So we started. The guy came in, had a gi on, and he was like, can we work? Can I work with you? I said, yeah, start down there. So I'm teaching one kid come up, I'm sparring with him. Everybody sparring. I said, go, we got 3 minutes. Everybody sparring. I hear a lot of commotion going on down there on the other end. So I'm looking at that. I look down and I said, oh, those two guys, the father and one of my teachers were going at it. So I said, y'all guys be careful down there. Don't hurt each other. Boom, that stopped. Somebody else moved down. Then I hear the same commotion. And I looked down there again, and I was like, man, control. So I'm thinking my teacher was whipping this father all around the room. But as I started to watch, I looked at this guy. I said, that guy could fight. He was whipping my teachers. He was putting it all over my teacher. Like, who is this guy? I said, oh, this is Garrett's father. That's the student father. So as he get closer to me, I kind of watch just to see what he can do and what he can't do. I'm looking at it now. I'm trying to feel his game out. So as he get a little closer to me. He step in front of me, and I look at him. He look at me. I was like, I can't let this guy leave out of here. Not now. Not like that. I'm not after he to beat up my teachers. So I began to do all kinds of stuff, man. Just boom, stuff he ain't never seen. Everything hit him. Boom, hit him. Boom, hit him. Till I heard this little voice say, get him, Dad. I was like, usually that voice is cheering for me. So I realized at that moment, that's this kid, Dad. So I don't need to be trying to show out on him. So what I decided to do is just lay back. If he swing at me, I'll flip out the way. I was 220 pounds. Flips do everything. He kick at me, I'll grab his leg and pull him down, sweep him. Just stuff. Then one time he charged in, and I put my foot right up to his face and held it right at his face. He kind of ducked. Then he looked at me like that, smiled. So when it was over, I was in the locker room getting dressed. Him and his father came in. His father said, man, I had a great time, man. I'm glad you're working with him. Thanks for doing everything. He was like, by the way, man, how long have you been doing this? So I gave it a rundown. He said, you need to come work for me. Dad said, work for you? What do you do? He said, I'm the president of World Championship Wrestling, but I used to be a karate guy. He said, man, you got what it takes. You can talk, you're good looking. He said, all we got to do is get you in. I can make you a very wealthy man. He said, here go my number. Call me and we'll get to work on that. So he gave me his phone number. Eric Bischoff, the president of the company, gave me his phone number to give him a call to become a wrestler and a very wealthy man. But next thing you know, I get another call. He said, Ernest, when are you going to call me? I said, I started making excuses. He said, you know this can change your life. Then I said, what you mean? He said, well, I told you to call me 6 months ago. And he said, here it is 6 months later. What are you waiting on? And I said, well, I got kids who are about to become black belts. So I don't want to leave here before they become black belt because they may have, when you start with a teacher, you want to end with that teacher.
Sure.
You don't want to, So I just said, let me finish this crew right here. And the first thing he said, you a giver. He said, man, I'm happy. He said, let me know when you're ready and come on. And then as soon as the class graduated, his son, everybody got black belt. And I wasn't making but $2,000 a darn month. No money, $2,000 a month. So when that next day, I went in, I met with Eric. I sat down. He told me about the school. He said, first we're going to train you. So here, we're going to pay you to go to school. And I said, I can't teach anymore. He said, don't worry about that right now. I said, all my black belts, two students black belt. So he said, but listen here. We're going to give you $5,000 a week. I'm like, $5,000 a year? He said, no, for training, it's $5,000 a week. Bro, let me tell you something. I don't know if you got money that fast the right way, but to go from $2,000, $2,500 a month to $5,000 a week, it made me feel like I look out my window like somebody coming to get me, like I'm stealing money. But the only thing I had to do is show up and be in the class at the power plant and learn how to wrestle.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible. I mean, it didn't change the money came in, but it didn't change my life. I still would sneak out and go to karate practice late at night with some of the people.
You said earlier on you were kind of shy, squeaky voice and all that. Well, I'll tell you what, when you get into the wrestling, you went from that shy voice to the persona. You got to talk the talk and you got to talk the smack, right? You get in the middle of the ring with a mic and you're calling people out, and you got to be able to get it done and trash talk, right?
It's so funny that you brought that up, man, because it was a moment. It was a moment there to where I had to come. What they said, come to God. You know? God, if this is for me, why did you put me in this place? If I'm ready for this, I can do it. It came to that moment. It came to that moment to where they told me At this moment, I was good at wrestling. I knew I could do that, but I was so shy. I didn't want to speak in front of people. That's how I was. But it came to that moment to where this guy, Terry Taylor, was one of he used to be, you ever heard Terry Taylor? Terry Taylor, he's very well known in the wrestling business.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I don't know him, but I heard.
Yeah, but he was head of all the booking the shows. So one day walking out in the hall, him and Disco Inferno stopped, and Terry like, man, we need a hot crowd, man. We need a crowd. Anything they want me to do in the ring, they already know I could do it. They already know that this guy's very athletic, so he can do whatever we want to in the ring. But so is everybody else. Everybody else is athletic too. So what's gonna make him stand out? Even guys who didn't know karate in the ring could do karate because it was all is. I hate to tell you guys, is acting. It's not real.
Well, we'll talk about that more in a minute. But it's legit physical.
Man,
I mean, coming doing the sports medicine part of it like I did, I saw the real injuries. I saw the broken backs. I saw the broken necks. I saw the messed up knees and elbows, dislocations. It's real.
Man,
the physicality is real. Now, whether or not you know whether you're going to win or not, that might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah, but sometimes people even get behind you and try to, even when you think you're going to win, they can call it the last second.
That's right.
And say, no, the other guy go over.
That's right.
you in the ring, you're supposed to win, but you don't really know until that last call. Because they have, I can't tell y'all all the secrets.
Yeah, no.
But they have the false finishing where you go 1, 2, then you get your shoulder up.
That's right.
Sometimes that false finish go 1, 2, and you trying to get your shoulder up. We hit 3. And that means somebody in the back that told him switch it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people understand that this is a tough lifestyle. I mean, the travel, if you're not working, I mean, you got to be working. It's all year round, right?
Year round, you don't have an off season, man. Let me tell you, some of the injuries that I had, the pains that I had, came from finding thing. My elbows used to hurt so much, and people said, "Why do your elbows hurt?" Sitting in first class like this, sitting in first class now, because we was on so many flights.
Yeah,
we were from one place to another one all the time, and you sit in a position like this a lot. Just it was just, once I got out of it, I didn't fly. I couldn't fly. If I went near the airport, I kind of hyperventilated. It's like, because I felt like I spent so many days in that airport that, it was like, I don't want to spend another day in that airport.
Yeah. And then you go from there and you're showing up at an arena somewhere, and you're getting ready, getting training room, getting stretched out, and then it's showtime, and you're getting beat up and banged up, and you come back, and we look at you, and you do it again.
We do it again. I was supposed to go to Australia last month to do a wrestling show. So I like to go out, enjoy the flight, then come back. But this time, when he told me, you come out here, it's a two-day flight, 20-hour flight almost. You fly here, you wrestle, you spend 1 day, then you go back. So that used to sound good, but now at my age, if I'm going to wrestle, I know I'm going to be a little sore, and it's going to take longer than 2 days for me to feel good enough to get on a plane and sit and walk or whatever, 14, 15 hours on the plane to get back here. So I said, listen, you got to give me 2 weeks. I got to make that a vacation if I'm coming over there.
Well, let's talk about a little bit something that's easier on your body is the movie industry. So you did a movie back in the day, The Wrestler. That was a big movie. And then you've done a couple like The Legend of Bruce Lee.
Yes.
And I think it was Blood and Bone. And you've just finished a set right now, right?
We just finished doing a movie called The Unbreakable Bunch. It's a real friendly movie with Glacier. Got some top name wrestling there, Tonga, and we all land in this small town just to have one more opportunity to wrestle. And we come into a small town, almost like this right here.
Yeah.
And we put on a show, but at the same time, put on the show is a sci-fi movie. we being attacked by aliens with the glowing eyeballs. And it's so fun. I get to kick their heads off. I got to do everything I've ever wanted to do in the in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good movie. But it's really about friends traveling the road one more time. But we just get stuck in this element of entrustment and trying to build even more of a building more of a friendship. So that movie, and then I just finished another movie with Michael Jai White, who is one of the top actors out there for me, man. This guy worked. He directed the movie. He starred in the movie. He wanted to listen. I know that I've been on this guy for years. People have asked me, is Michael Jai White really as bad as people think he is? I say yes. He's worse. This guy is like incredible. His knowledge of martial arts and his knowledge of technique make him a weapon. Let's just say that. So I got to do a movie with him called Trouble Man, and it's a good movie, and I get killed in the movie. I'm not supposed to tell you that, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you because my fight scenes against Michael White, and I asked Michael, could I win, and he was like, Ernest, did you forget? It's my movie. So no, you can't win. You can't kill me. I'm supposed to kill you. So yeah, it's a great movie, man. It's gonna be a good movie. Some good characters.
And when you get in the movies, you get these like alligator britches like that, don't you? I like those.
Bro, these right here, man. I've had these for years. I just say, what the heck? Let me put them on and go and talk to my man.
I like it. I like it. So, the older I get, the more that I realize people's DNA kind of directs them to be something in life. And you're an awesome example how, you were kind of born. You didn't realize it when you were 3 years old out playing tackle football in the yard with your uncle and other friends and being gang tackled for your Bruce Lee debut when you were 8 years old. But all that was your DNA was getting built up and produced, and then all of a sudden a door opens, and you went to Florida State, but then you kind of feel, then you went to Savannah, and then you were All-American. Then you're teaching karate, and you come across Eric Bischoff and all this stuff. Everything just aligns, and you were everywhere you needed to be. And that's just really cool to me how your DNA, you just stepped through every door to be where you are today.
But you had to put yourself in front of those doors to be able to step through them. And at the time, I was young, doing all that stuff. People don't believe this. I used to tell myself, this is what I want to do. I want to be a karate guy, a top karate guy. I want to be on TV doing martial arts. I said I want to be a top instructor. I want to do all these things. I want to be in movies. These are the things I chose when I was young, very young. So I had dreams.
Yeah.
So when those doors start opening, I wasn't thinking about it. But at the same time, I had goals already set. My 5-year plans were 50 years ahead of time. By the time I reached 60, I want to look back and say, I've been in movies. I did everything I said I wanted to do. And now I'm doing something else that I wanted to do. I always wanted, go back to what we said, I always wanted to do construction work. Not me get out there and put money, but I want to be involved with that, with mental and developing things. I would love to see a building with my name on it. So that's why now I'm going into doing contracting, commercial and construction. I'm going into that. And people are like, why in the world you want to do that? It was on my list. Let me tell you something. When you do what you love, you can never say you worked.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I'm doing what I love.
Well, that kind of leads me to where I was going to say some advice time for young kids or young athletes. Well, you just gave it to you right there.
Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah. Well, so let's end on this. I like to do this. I like to get, and you already kind of hit on that. That's one of probably.
I was a nice guy too. I wasn't a character. I came in here and I put myself out there. Usually I come in here and I yell, have a smart mouth. I talk disrespectful. I do, but I wanted to come in with you because you're a nice guy. And old Double H.O., that's my man.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what myself feel like. I wanted to be honest. I want to be who I am and talk about what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I love it, and I like to leave on like like in this case, the Ernest, the Cat Millers, like his keys to success. And I think we hit on one of them. Do what you love is one of them. But if there's anything else, like you'd say, you know what, this is my key to my strategy to success. Is there anything else? You got any little tidbits?
You know, I would say this, right? I was very determined. You know, I stumbled, you know, and every time I started something, if I fell down to my knees, I'll pray. And since I'm down here, let me pray and move forward. I never stopped. I wanted these doors open. I planned my life. When I say I planned my life, nothing just happened. I planned my life because I expected things to go the way I wanted them to go. And when they didn't, I said maybe that wasn't for me. My first big check I got was $150,000. And I remember looking at this check and I was so happy to go. I've never got paid that kind of money in my life, but it's a $150,000 check. And I wasn't thinking about how I'm going to spend this or what I'm going to need to buy a new Bentley. I got my Bentley later, but I wasn't thinking like that. What I was thinking about this $150,000 check was, God, if this is not from you, please take it away. That's what I said. I swear.
Yeah.
The one for you. Please take it away. And I never thought about what I was going to do with it. But what I did with it is, my mom had been living in the same house that she had when we were born. And I was 37 when she had been living in the house so many years. It was a small one-bedroom house. The neighborhood was getting kind of bad. She didn't have to say, I put that check in the bank. I called my real estate agent and said, hey, go buy this house. Pay everything down on this house. So I bought my mom a house. So I bought her house. I got her situated in a neighborhood that was a nice neighborhood, a neighborhood where I wanted my kids to be able and feel safe in the neighborhood. So I bought my mom a house. And that was just part of the plan.
That's powerful. I mean, it's doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing is powerful.
With what you have. Doing the right thing with what you have. You
Well,
know, we could give you something. I could give you a hammer, but if you try to unscrew something with the hammer, it's not going to work out.
That's right.
If you do what the hammer's supposed to do, nail it in, things will work out.
Well, listen, I appreciate you so much being here. I was so excited to sit down with you and hear your story and where you're headed. And I know that God has great things for you in the future in your construction business. And, you know, if you give us some information, we'll put that link out there, and man, you'll be building things all over the place.
Bro, listen, I just want to do something that is good for people. I've had it all. I tell everybody that. Some of the young guys, I still deal with a lot of guys. I like to play basketball, so a lot of the young guys really like me. You know, but they at that age, hey, you ought to see us last night. We had a great time. We had this. Most people don't realize what my life was like because I'm so set back and humble now.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't have to brag on what I used to do or what I've had. Material stuff, all leave you. You can take it away. And this is what I tell everybody. I made 2 piles. I put 1 pile right here, 1 pile right there. Every material thing I have, I throw it in this pile. Now, in this group of things right here, I put it down, I got another pile. In this pile, I have my relationship with God, my relationship with my mom, my relationship with my friends, my relationship, my love for God, my love for my family. All that stuff is in this pile. Now, you can play with this pile. Y'all can come and sweep it away and do whatever y'all want to. Pick over it, take the Bentley, take the Rolex watch. You can take that. But I'm protecting this right here.
Yeah, that's important.
This is what carried through.
That's right.
And now at my age, everything that I need and want was in this pile.
Family and friends first, right?
Man,
that's all important.
Yeah, all important.
That's where the support is.
Yeah.
Well, Ernest, again, I appreciate so much you being here and, you know, spreading your story and also a wealth of information from hopefully young people can hear about what determination and what being at the right place and doing the right thing can do. And like I said, I know you've got some awesome things ahead of you, and I look forward to hearing about what's next.
All right, brother.
Right, bro?
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.